phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
This past 2021 college football season and even the 2022 college football offseason have been quite the wild ride to keep up with. Whether it is the moving pieces in the current college football world with coaches, transfer portal, and even NIL, it's been quite the experience to cover it. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the most intriguing teams heading into 2022. Before I move on with the video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, let's get into it. The first team I'm going to be talking about in today's video is the Oklahoma Sooners. In 2021, Oklahoma went 11-2 and finished 10th in the final AP poll. They did not make it to the Big 12 title game. They finished 3rd in the Big 12, but they did win their bowl game versus Oregon in the Alamo Bowl. Now, what does make Oklahoma so intriguing heading into 2022? If you keep up with Oklahoma at all, or even college football, you know that they have a new first-year head coach in longtime defensive coordinator and top defensive coordinator in Brent Venables. Brent Venables used to be at Oklahoma, and it seems like there is a new culture starting up over there that's going to be hard, physical football played down in Norman. Now, when you look at reports on this team from some college football analysts heading in, people are either really high on them or they're kind of thinking they're going to be kind of a mediocre team in 2022. I've made my Big 12 predictions, and I am very high on OU heading into the season. In my opinion, I think OU has a ton of talent on that roster, and they brought in a lot of talent through the transfer portal and that last recruiting class that they had in 2022. Yes, they lost a lot to the transfer portal after the departure of Lincoln Riley. However, with this new staff, I do believe they're going to be just fine. I do believe their defense is going to be a lot better. I mean, the staff they have on both sides of the ball, you may even argue the staff got better as a whole than it was under the Lincoln Riley era with all the new coaches that they have down at Oklahoma. I do believe this team is going to be very good, and they're going to be interesting to keep up with. They're probably going to have some hiccups down the road during 2022, but I do believe they're going to be one of the more entertaining teams to watch as well. The next team that I'm going to be talking about is USC. USC is coming off a disappointing 21 season in which their head coach Clay Helton got fired after 2 games. Yes, and USC went 4-8 that season, going 3-6 in conference play and missing a bowl game completely. A lot of people were wondering who they were going to hire as their head coach during the 21 season, and shockingly, they pulled Lincoln Riley out of Oklahoma. When talking about USC under Lincoln Riley heading into year 1 under him for 2022, it's kind of intriguing as they had a great transfer portal class, one of the best in the nation, bringing in top player after top player in the transfer portal of USC, and you know they're going to contend for that Pac-12 title. Some even believe they can make the college football playoff because of how strong the Pac-12 is, and that they may have a position to really run in the Pac-12 and make their case as the best team in that conference. Whether they do that or not, it's really up in the air right now as the season still has to be played. But I guarantee you USC is going to be one of the top Pac-12 teams. They're going to have a top offense. It's going to be high-flying with Caleb Williams at quarterback 1, and it's going to be entertaining to see. This is going to be the best USC team in a while, and I'm not 100% sure they're going to make the playoff, but if they win the Pac-12, they may have a case. The next team that I'm going to be talking about may surprise some, but I'm going to be showing some group of 5 love in today's video, so I'm going to be talking about UCF. UCF in 2021 in year 1 of the Gus Malzahn era, they went 9-4. They had some ups and downs throughout the season, but ultimately were a pretty good team, even winning their bowl game versus Florida 29-17. And when talking about them losing Dylan Gabriel early on in the season, UCF's season, in my opinion, was pretty solid. When talking about them in 2022, I believe that the AAC conference is really wide open this season, as Cincinnati that has been running it the last few seasons, and they're still going to be a top team in the conference. However, they're losing some key pieces, and there's going to be some teams that are going to have a real shot at winning it, and I believe UCF may just be a team to watch out for in 2022 as they return a great amount of production, especially at a spot that they lost a quarterback early on at. They're returning their starting quarterback for this season in Mikey Keene, and he showed some flashes last season. I think he's going to make some improvements in his game. Not only that, Gus Malzahn has a huge opportunity to have this UCF team take an even bigger leap going into year 2, especially with some of the talent that they added in the transfer portal. Sticking with the group of 5 teams in the AAC specifically, I'm going to be talking about Houston. In 2021, Houston went 12-2, were a top 25 team, and won their bowl game versus Auburn 17-3. They returned a good amount of their production from last year's team to this year's team, returning 64% of their total production from 21 to 2022. Not only that, but they are bringing in a good amount of transfer talent from the transfer portal that are going to be for sure immediate impact players in 2022. I believe this Houston team can make a lot of noise in 2022, build upon last season, and be an even better team. Like I said for UCF, I believe the AAC is open this season for any team that wants to come in and make their name known, and I believe Houston's going to have a real shot to do just that. On to the next team that I'm going to be talking about in today's video. We're going to be taking it to the ACC and talk about Miami. Miami is coming off a 2021 campaign in which they really weren't the most impressive team out there, as they went 7-5 and 5-3 in conference play, and ultimately were not as good as some people believed they were going to be in the season, and effectively Manny Diaz's time as the head coach there got cut short as he was fired at the conclusion of the regular season. When talking about Miami heading into 2022, just like Oklahoma and USC, as I mentioned earlier, they are also going to have new coaching staffs and a new head coach, as their head coach is going to be former Oregon head coach Mario Cristobal. And Cristobal is already making his name known in Miami, as they had a very good 22 offseason, salvaging that 2022 recruiting class and having a great defensive transfer portal class, and they're returning 73% of their production as a team from 21 to 22. I think they're going to be an interesting team to really keep up with in 2022, as could they potentially make a run for the ACC title? They definitely could if they put all the pieces together. The last team I'm going to be talking about in today's video for intriguing teams heading into 2022 is Ole Miss. Ole Miss is coming off a great 21 campaign where they went 10-3 and even made a New Year's Six Bowl appearance and were one of the best teams in the nation. They are losing some production from last year's squad to this year's squad, only returning 60% of their production, which isn't bad, but they are losing some talent. However, they may have just reloaded in this offseason through the transfer portal, as they have a lot of players on both sides of the ball that are going to be immediate impact players that could definitely thrive in this system. They're going to have a quarterback competition as of right now for that QB1 spot between Jackson Dart and QB2 last season, Luke Altmaier, and it's going to be interesting to see who's going to win that job and what ultimately happens in the season. I believe they have a real shot to be better than they were last season and be, yet again, one of the best teams in the SEC. What do you guys think about Ole Miss in 2022? Well, guys, if you made it this far in the video, drop something down in the comment section below. Who do you think is another intriguing team heading into 2022 and why? And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. B. Kelly out.